Hey everyone, glad to have you here for another video. Today we're looking at a powerful Intel Haswell ultrabook that turns into a tablet, comes with a pen and can run for 8 hours on a single charge. That's how you could describe the Sony Vaio Duo 13 in very few words. You'll find the long story in this clip, a detailed look at Sony's new 13-inch Vaio Duo. The Duo 13 expands the Vaio Duo line and fixes many of the last year's version issues, the Duo 11. Let's start with the exterior. The 13 was completely redesigned. The edges are sharper, no longer chamfered, and that plus the pointy corners do make the new model somewhat more uncomfortable to grab and use in tablet mode. Sony also moved the ports on the back of the laptop, which means that they are now out of the way, but also more difficult to access. You'll find here a large cooling grill, a card reader that can completely swallow an SD card, an HDMI and 2 USB ports, the headphone microphone jack and the PSU. The power button sits on the left edge, while on the right there's a clip and a ring designed as pen holders, but more about them later. There's no VGA, but Sony offers an HDMI to VGA extension in the pack. And there's no Ethernet either, but you do get an Ethernet to Wi-Fi dongle integrated within the power brick. Flipping the machine upside down, you'll find here an oddly placed main camera that you can very easily cover with your fingers when using the tablet. On the front there's a larger grille covering some speakers, two of them from what I can tell, one on each side, plus some buttons which are stiff and quite difficult to press, so I doubt you'll use them much. Those aside, I'm glad to tell you that the Vaio Duo 13 feels very sturdy. The body is made from carbon fiber, so it's durable and offers good grip, and that helps the Duo weigh a little under 3 pounds despite packing plenty of features, as you'll find out from this video. Our version comes in white and silver, but there's also a carbon black one available in stores. As you might have noticed by now, the entire front face is a massive screen, covered by a sheet of Gorilla Glass 3, and that makes the Vaio Duo 13 a tablet. Albeit it's a massive 13-inch device and not the ideal couch body, but having the large screen gives you more landscape when browsing and working with documents. The Duo is however more than just a tablet. You can lift the screen and it will slide up, unveiling a keyboard and a trackpad. The interior offers the same premium feel as it's made from fiber carbon as well. The palm rest is very narrow, but the keyboard is larger than the one on the Duo 13 because the screen now slides more towards the back. Many buyers complained about the stiff sliding mechanism on last year's model, and Sony worked on that. The Duo 13 comes with a new hinge, much more compact than before and a lot easier to operate. In fact, you can now effortlessly lift the screen with only one hand. On top of that, the new hinge feels just as sturdy as the larger one used before, and the screen is mostly going to stay fixed in place as long as you make sure it perfectly attaches to the tiny hooks placed on each side of the laptop. The cords connecting the screen with the lower body are now integrated within the sliding mechanism, so are less exposed to potential damage, again something Duo 11 users complain about. But how about the screen? As I mentioned already, it sits sturdily in place and the Duo's overall balance in laptop mode is great, as long as you keep it on a desk or with the base parallel to the ground. You have a 13.3-inch display on this Duo, a touchscreen of course, with a Full HD IPS panel that bundles Sony's Triluminous technology. Unfortunately, I don't have the proper tools to test the color accuracy, but I can say that this screen feels more vibrant than the one on last year's Duo 11. It's also bright enough for everyday use as long as you don't have it in very strong light, and offers good contrast and viewing angles. Speaking of those, the slider concept has one massive issue. You can't adjust the screen's vertical inclination, it's fixed. And that means that most of the time you're not going to look at it straight on. And while the viewing angles are good on the Duo 13, there's still a noticeable difference when watching the screen from any angle, especially when displaying whites and bright content. And one more thing, I'm not always using my laptops on a flat surface. Sometimes I like to work while lying on the couch with the laptop leaning on my legs. With the Duo 13 that's not really possible, as the screen doesn't stay in place and comes over the top of the keyboard. You might not care much about that, but it's some things to be aware of nonetheless. Of course, having a touchscreen has its benefits, and the Duo doesn't offer just an ordinary touchscreen, but one that embeds an N-trig digitizer and comes with a matching pen. So you can use this machine to draw, sketch things, take notes, select various parts of the screen, etc. I found that using the pen on the Duo 13 is overall quite comfortable. Yes, the device is a bit tall and has those sharp edges, but I wasn't bothered much by this. Sony does offer a clip on the right side of the device, which can hold the pen when in tablet mode, and a retractable ring that holds it when you're in laptop mode. The ring is specifically designed to always bring the pen towards your hand, but when trying to access the Charms menu on Windows 8, you'll find the placement somewhat annoying as the pen is exactly in your way. Besides that, the system knows when you're grabbing the pen from these holders and can automatically launch an app of your choice if you want to. Neat. Alright, let's talk about the keyboard. Knowing how I didn't like the one on the Duo 11, I didn't have high expectations here either, but Sony actually improved it. It's bigger now, which means that you get larger square keys. The travel is still quite shallow, and you'll need some time to get used to the feedback, but the keys feel a lot firmer, which means that they will register taps even when hitting them on the sides or on the corners. On the Duo 11, you had to always hit them in the middle, and that caused plenty of missed hits. Overall, the typing experience is good, but the small palm rest and the sharp edge makes it worse than it could have been. Still, because of that palm rest, Sony had room to squeeze a click pad on this Duo, and it's actually quite good, especially if you like to tap on your touchpads and not click on them. The touchpad is of course tiny, but it's accurate, responsive, and works with gestures like two-finger scrolling and zooming. There's no support for Windows 8 gestures, but I don't care much about that anyway. Still, you'll ask me if this solution is better than the one on the Duo 11, and I'll say yes. Although I'm a big fan of independent click buttons myself, the track point on the 11 was rubbish, which made the overall combo almost unusable for me. Alright, all those being said, let's talk about the hidden features of this laptop and its everyday usabilities. We have the base version of the Sony Vaio Duo 13 here, with an Intel Core i5-4200U processor, Intel HD 4600 graphics, 4GB of memory and an 128GB SSD, although I noticed that on Sony's website it does come with Intel 4400 graphics. This one we have here is after all an engineering sample, but there shouldn't be any big differences between it and the version available in stores. Anyway, the Duo 13 is going to easily handle all your daily tasks, whether we're talking about browsing, editing documents, listening to music or chatting with your friends. It can also play well all sorts of multimedia content, and the sound system, while not impressive, it's overall pretty good for an ultrabook. The Duo 13 was able to run well even some games, like the latest Need for Speed, Skyrim or FIFA 13. In fact, it handled them a lot better than the Vaio Pro 13 did, as you'll find out from this clip link from here that shows you those gaming performances. And if you're after more specific details about the hardware and plenty of benchmarks, check out the written review on ultrabookreview.com. I'll have the link for you in the description. The Vaio Duo 13 also runs quiet and cool. Air is sucked in from the sides and from behind the screen and then vented out through the grille on the back. In fact, the fan only kicks on when dealing with more intensive tasks, like watching Full HD movies or playing games, and even so, it's not very loud. The laptop can get quite warm in these situations on the upper left bottom side, but it's never too hot, and this happens mainly when pushing the machine, in which case I doubt you'll have it on your lap anyway. Sony also bundled two cameras on the Duo. The front shooter is alright for chatting and video calls, but it could have been sharper. The one on the back has an 8MP sensor and takes decent shots and Full HD clips. It lacks flash, so it doesn't do well in poor light, and on top of that the camera is oddly placed and can be easily covered with your hand when grabbing the device. Still, I doubt any of you would actually use this for taking pics unless it's really necessary. But while I don't care much about the camera, I do care a lot about battery life. The Vaio Duo 13 comes with a 50Wh battery, and that, bundled with the Haswell hardware, means that it will last from anywhere between 6 to 10 hours of everyday use. See the written reviews for more extensive details about battery life, but one thing has to be said here. Well done, Sony, very well done. And that's about it. I've covered all the important aspects of the Duo 13 in this video, but you should definitely check out the written review on Ultrabook Review for more fine details. And if you have any other questions or things to add up, leave your comments here or on the site. Wrapping it up, the Sony Vaio Duo 13 is an awesome machine. Sony gathered the complaints on their 11-inch version and addressed mostly all of them without screwing up anything else in return. The new Intel platform offers a nice performance boost and an even greater battery life increase, combined with the larger battery bundled on this machine, of course. On top of that, the Duo 13 is only marginally larger and heavier than last year's model, despite packing a bigger screen. So if you're okay with the slider form factor, there's really little not to like about this device, except for the price perhaps. The Duo 13 starts at $1,400 and can quickly get over $2,000 and even close to $3,000 for the beefiest configurations. Ouch. That's considerably pricier than last year's Duo 11. Anyway, if you want such a computer with a digitizer and a pen, you'll have to pay the high prices, or maybe wait for other cheaper options to hit the stores later down the line. I for one will end the video here, but not before thanking you for watching and asking you to hit the thumbs up button, share this clip wherever you can, and subscribe to my channel for future updates. I'll catch you later. Cheers!